Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, I'm going to be showing you very simple ways on how to sculpt your face by cream contouring and highlighting and powder contouring and powder highlighting, the endless options of sculpting your face, of course. So I hope that you enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell so that you can get a notification of every new video that I post. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. I already have my primer, foundation, and I'm just going to go straight in with the cream contour products. The foundation that I have on my skin right now is the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. This has SPF 20, has a brightening complex, it's for all skin types, and this is in the color MC1. It smells great. The only thing that I'm not like a big fan about is the doe foot applicator, but I am trying this out, and so I will give you my thoughts on another video. Okay, the products I'm going to be using today, I'm going to take two different beauty blenders, and I am going to be cream contouring and then powder bronzing on top of that, and showing you how to use the two powder products. This was a requested video, and cream contouring is not the easiest thing to do. I myself will sometimes not be the best at it, but I feel like if you keep practicing, it's a work in progress and you'll continue to get better and better. So to get started, I'm going to use the ABH Contour Cream Kit. This is the kit in light. And so it's actually brand new. I haven't even used it yet. Well, I've swatched it, but that's about it. Okay. So it looks like this, and you've got all of your different colors. This is, let's see, fair, neutral, and banana. And then Havana, light sculpt, and Java. Nope. This is Havana. This is light sculpt. This is Java. Alright, I'm glad we figured that out now. Okay, I'm also going to be using, let's see, I'm going to be using my Soleil Tan de Chanel bronzer, and to conceal my face, I'm going to be using the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer. Okay, to get started, like I showed you, I have two different sponges because I want to contour with one and highlight with the other. I'm also going to take this really, really big, let's see, this looks about good. It's just this big flat shader brush, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. Now, to contour my face, this is strictly just to contour, not to bronze, because these colors are just a little cool, a little too cool to bronze with. I'm going to take a mixture of these two colors right here. The best way to do that is to just take the brush and just dig it into it like this, and then take a little corner up here and dig it into this one as well. Now, I'm going to go from where the tip of my ear is to where the tip of my mouth ends, and that's where that's where the deepest part of your face is. Or if it's not, that's where you want to contour to give the illusion that that's the deepest part of your face. So I'm going to start just by keeping it way closer to the hairline. Oh, and I put maybe just a little bit too much. That looks about good because we are going to blend it out, so it's definitely going to diffuse out further. And do that on the same thing on the other side. Now, the other key points of your face that you want to hit are your hairline, your jawline, and your nose this way. So we're gonna start. I'm just gonna make little tiny dots around my face. Now, the thing with the ABH cream contour palette is that very pigmented, also very easy to work with and blend out, but in general, cream contouring is not necessarily something that I would tell beginners to try out for the very first time. Powders are just a lot easier to work with at first, of course. So to contour, I'm going to take my Sephora sponge, and I'm going to use the big and round side on this side, and I'm going to start pressing that into my skin and then dragging it a little further down to my mouth because I did leave it so close to my hairline. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that all around my face. Okay, I will make a point that you want to make sure that you haven't applied any powders before going in with the cream contour, because it'll just get muddy and it'll pick up the powder and the foundation. So just make sure that you have just a nice smooth base with no powders before you go in with contour and also with concealer. So I think I'm actually going to go in with the ABH contour kit into the color right over here on this side. That is the color Fair. And again, taking another flat shader brush. And I'm going to lightly use this to brighten up this area right here. Not necessarily right underneath my under eyes, but maybe just a little further down. Because for the very, very inner portion of my under eyes, I do want to use more of a... I do want to use the concealer that I have, and it's definitely a much more brightening color. Okay, we'll see. Now that's a little light for me, so I think I'm going to take a mixture of that with the color Banana over here. Because I haven't gone in, I haven't used most of these, they're still just a little difficult to work with because you definitely want to warm them up. It's a lot easier if you warm up the colors. You can even, and I know this isn't maybe what you would want to do, but take it on your hand, on your finger. That way you can just warm it up and it's a lot easier to work with that way. But for today, we use the brush and that should work well for us. So now I'm going to go in with my other Real Techniques sponge and I'm going to press that into my skin. Okay, to highlight my under eyes and conceal my under eyes as well, I'm going to go in with the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer in the shade Casanova. And I'm going to just take this on the very highest points of my face. This is a really, really high coverage concealer and it's really brightening, so I don't have to take excessive amounts. I'm just going to hit the parts where I feel like I would need the most brightening, which is definitely in between my eyebrows and just a little lower on the tip of my nose and underneath my eyes. I'm blending that in with my Real Techniques sponge. Okay, now to set all of this in place, or maybe I'm just going to go ahead and start by setting off my highlighted portions of the face. I'm going in with the this is Laura Mercier translucent powder. And I'm going to take that on the same beauty blender or Real Techniques sponge that I use to blend in my concealer. And like I said, I'm only going to be using this to set the places where I set my concealer, where I place my concealer. Okay, now to set my cream contour, I'm actually going to go in with a bronzer, but I'm going to go in with the Hoola Benefit Bronzer. The thing about this bronzer is that it is perhaps maybe a little warm for some people and maybe a little cool for some people, depending on your skin tone, but for the most part, you could definitely get a contour and a nice bronze out of this shade, perhaps. And they also have, I think it's a lighter shade that they just recently came out with, and that would be perfect, perhaps, if I think for me to contour with, because it is just definitely a little more cool. So the difference between using a more cool color to contour and a more warm color to bronze, to contour, you're trying to sculpt, and if you're sculpting with a really warm color and perhaps maybe even some shimmer, because some bronzers do have shimmer, you're not necessarily contouring, and if you apply too much of it, it can just get a little muddy. That's why sometimes what I'll do is I'll cream contour first with a more cool color and then set it with a warmer color to give me a nicer bronze, or using a color that you can use for both. So I think Hoola is definitely one of those colors that you can use for both, and I have a few more colors around here, but sometimes the easiest thing to use, especially when you're starting off, is a color that you can just use for both, and that is completely depending on your skin tone. So that's something that you definitely have to play with and find, but it's just a perfect in between, a perfect neutral that you can use for both. So now, like I said, I'm going to set my cream contour. I'm going to take this big fan fluffy brush, so it's a lot bigger than just a regular highlighting fan, as you can see, and it's a lot fluffier too. It's really great to really get into the hollows of your cheeks. I'm going to take the Hoola Benefit bronzer and just tap that in there, dust off the excess, and start by shading it a little bit, and then maybe just brushing it up so that when I do apply my blush, it blends with my blush. I'm going to be taking this on any portion of my face that I used cream contour, and down my neck as well. Now, I am not a big nose contour. It's just not something that is in my routine. It's just not, but I will often like to give myself a little color on the sides of my nose, so I'll take a big fan brush, and now this is something that is not typically done. Usually it's gone with a smaller brush and it's very detailed, but I'm going to take my big fan brush, dip back into my Hoola Benefit bronzer, and I'm going to just graze this once on the side of my nose, just because I want to get a little bit of color, but I don't want it to be so defined that I have to later go back in with a highlighting shade, and that works enough for me, because then I like to take my beauty blender and just bounce that on top of it once more to give me the most natural look as possible, because I don't want my nose to be super defined. Okay, moving on, I'm going to set the parts of my face that I didn't set with bronzer, or with, yes, bronzer or translucent powder at first, but I'm going to be going in back with the same Laura Mercier translucent powder and the same sponge. I'm going to take the flat side like this and press it in and just run it down the very bottom of, or beneath my contour, because one, I want to give myself a nice and sharper contour, but also set that portion of my face because I didn't previously set that. And just right here in the very center of my forehead, and any other parts of my face that I missed. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and go in with my blush. I'm using a big fluffy Real Techniques blush, and I think today I'm going to use my Milani Baked blush in the color Romantic Rose, and taking that on the apples of my cheeks. And you know how earlier I said that I was going to be taking the bronzer and fluffing it so that it would morph with my blush? I did do that a little higher up, and I've just been liking placing my blush a little higher up because I think it just makes my cheekbones look a little higher, which I do like the look. And I always love to take a little bit of blush down the bridge of my nose because I love the little sunburned or sun-kissed look. It's my favorite. Okay, now I'm going to take just a big fluffy powder brush. Now that I've put all these powders down on my face, I just want to give a nice little dust around my face with this brush, just so that I don't have any harsh edges, or maybe I've missed blending a little bit in that section, and it just helps everything and all the colors just get the nicest and most diffused look. Okay, now this is my very, very favorite part because I love highlighter. Highlighter is just, I think it just fixes anything. If your skin is looking a little dull, just put some highlighter on. If you don't like the way your eyeshadow look turned out, just put some highlighter on. I think that you can just fix so many things with it. And one thing that I've noticed is if at the end of my day, my face is just looking so dull, if I put some highlighter on, it just makes me look better. I think it's just, it has a lot of perks to it. Highlighter is just the best. Okay, I'm gonna go in with my very, very, very favorite highlighter ever, which is the Becca Champagne Pop Highlighter. I know I've used this many, many times in videos before, but it is really just my favorite highlighter. and I'm gonna take this. So here's the thing. I often will go in with a fan brush, or I'll go in with a fluffy blending brush like this. Now, I will often use a fan brush when I want to get a more diffused look and maybe not as much of a blinding highlight as I would with this, because I can pick up more product with this, and I can also concentrate it in a more specific area with this. With a fan brush, I kind of just graze it back and forth on the highest points of my cheekbones, and it gives me a nice diffused and blended out look. So I also feel like this blends out my highlighter, but I think it also gives me a much more impactful glow. So I think today I'm just going to keep it a little natural because of my day activities that I have going on today. I'm going to use the fan brush and just dip that into my highlighter and graze this on the very, very highest points of my cheekbone. Now, I think that there are a lot of ways that you can go about contouring your nose. As I previously stated, I myself don't necessarily contour all that much, but if you were to contour your nose with a much more cooler shade than you use to bronze your face with, I'd go in with several different options of brushes that I have. A nice tapered brush like this one, because that allows you to get a nice and blended out look. Or if you maybe don't want to take such a small brush at risk of maybe just getting too much of a harsh line, you can take a big and fluffier brush like this, and this is an e.l.f. concealer brush, and this is a Morphe B80 brush. Okay, and that's it for this week's video. I hope that you found this really helpful, and I hope to do more videos like this on my channel, more one-step tutorial videos. I want to do some on applying false lashes and wing liner, eyebrow tutorial with powder and pomade and pencil. There's just lots of options, and I hope that you will come back and you will also take a look at those. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also ring the bell so that you can get a notification of every new video that I post. And I'll hope to see you guys next week. Bye everyone.